Bonus, bitches.
All right, we're here. Impromptu bonus episode.
Yo. This is the first bonus that we've done in like a really long fucking time.
Is it really?
It feels that way. What was the last? Oh, we did JPEG and Danny Brown. Mm-hmm. I couldn't even tell you how long ago that was.
About like a couple months.
But yeah, we actually saw a new thing, and we're actually going to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, we didn't do this together, but we went and we both have seen Into the Spider-Verse. I saw it yesterday, and you saw it a week ago, right?
Last Saturday. Yeah.
You got me hyped to see it.
I think I just texted you, holy shit, like after I got out of the theater.
And I think I told Elizabeth, I'm like, that's how you know it's good. When he just says stuff like that, I'm like, that's how you know. I'm like, we're in for a treat, babe. And she's like, God, he's so fucking stupid. I wish he'd stop talking to me.
You saw it last night. You said that you were going to text me and tell me your impression, and then you never did. But you said it's because you were still processing the film, which is totally understandable, by the way.
You know, I already have like really strong opinions, so.
Really strong opinions.
I got here on a limb. Let's just fucking start this thing off with a bang. I honest to God think after the third one comes out, the second one will be the weakest.
You think so?
Yes.
Damn, I liked a lot about this one more than the first one.
I did too. Don't get me wrong. I still loved it. But I think after the emotions settle, you're right. They do like a Dune Part 1. It's definitely like the pace was so intense that I like never really had time to be like beginning, middle, and end. It just felt like a very strong continuation of the first one, which I think like has kind of felt that way for a lot of like Spider-Man films for a while now.
They're always kind of the same.
Yeah, you know, it's just like I liked it. But I just think that structurally,
it's hard to judge.
It will come across really... Okay, let me put it this way. It was beautiful. It was fucking one of the most beautifully animated things I have ever seen in my life. Quite literally.
It's amazing.
It is going to be a work of art that will be damn near impossible to fully appreciate for my entire life. I truly believe that it's one of the most special animated films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt that way with the first one, but even this one, I felt like, wow.
It somehow exceeded that.
Yes. And it did such a great job. Really feel like it stepped off the heels of the last film in a way that it wasn't too overbearing, and it was like a nice subtle continuation to like, let's ramp up our style, let's go full into this new age animation that I'm so happy we're a part of. Because I was talking to Isaiah about this last night after I had watched it, and I said I really am so happy. It feels like the younger generations are finally, our ability to affect our culture and our media is like growing. And like we're slowly starting, our culture, our generations are making its way into what we would consider the mainstream. And we have this ability to enjoy this really, really intricate, beautiful art style that I feel like is so heavily influenced by like young people. And like this is something that wouldn't happen even 10 years ago. It's exciting to see that moving forward.
Things are a lot more like in touch nowadays,
like,
aren't they?
You have mainstream media is dying. That's part of it. To me personally, like I feel like the ability of like our generations and our effects that we have on our society now are growing, and it's really exciting to see. Like even though like we may not agree with everything, it feels like the world is starting to set itself up more for us. Shows in a small way, just where it's like, okay, the animation is so over the top, but it's like we have the ability to appreciate it because like young people have decided like this is the direction we're taking.
Yeah.
It's not limited or bound by anything, and it's full artistic freedom. It's amazing.
It's borderline experimental if you like put it in a certain lens.
It's not borderline, it is. Like
okay, you're right.
But my favorite thing about it is like this experimental art style of animation, so nuanced and rich now compared to like I think anything we've ever seen. The ability to animate on different frames, blending 3D and 2D animation is something I think it's needed to happen for a very long time.
Dude, bringing in real life footage,
I know,
like as a pivotal part of certain like, scenes.
It was like, super experimental.
Like, they are mixing so many things together here.
It's mixed media in animation form. Like it's colored pencil, oil paint, a pencil drawing, and charcoal all on the same canvas. It's so much you have hyper realism, quite literally, with like the digital footage of real life actors on screen. You have 3D animation. There was so many different Spider-Men that came through on that, where there was such unique art styles. Like that's something that obviously came through in the first one, but even like because they have the ability to ramp up the effect of that, it's really special. I think story-wise, outside of that, like, I don't know how you felt about this, but I thought it was really great, and it was a perfect continuation of the first one. But to me, it feels like the first act of a very climatic second and third act that need to happen in the next film.
I wouldn't say the whole movie is just one big first act. I think it's the world's longest first and second act combined.
Oh, okay. Maybe they're right, yeah.
Like, it's definitely missing, like, the third act. There's no true climax.
But do you know what excites me about that, though? Does that mean that the next film, like, the stakes have to raise, I think. I think they have to raise in some way. Otherwise, I think it'll feel like... How much of the Marvel have you seen? Have you seen everything up until Endgame?
Not everything.
Okay.
I skipped a few.
You've seen up to Endgame, right?
Yeah, and then a few after that.
Like, Infinity War, to me, was the best one. And then Endgame felt like... I know this is not some fucking new concept, but like Endgame felt like the third act, but the third act was really fucking long. I think if they don't do this in the third film of like ramp up the chaos to 10 like they did in this film, the third film will suffer tremendously. So I think the first one will be like the homey favorite, because this is how I feel about like damn near all the Spider-Man films.
The first one's always the best.
The first one's the best. It's the smallest. And then the second one will feel like a good continuation of the first story, but not quite emotionally resonant. And then hopefully the third one doesn't blow it or feel like it didn't live up to the momentum that the second one was building.
Have they blown the third one for every Spider-Man? We've only had 2 trilogies so far, I guess, but Spider-Man 3 sucks out of the Raimi trilogy.
Yeah, but the Spider-Man No Way Home,
I think.
Good God. What again? You said it's just a few minutes ago. I think you said it off the air, didn't you?
The titles are too confusing for these new movies.
Whatever happened to numbers? Yeah.
Spider-Man 2. Just do it.
Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2.5. Whatever you got to do. Get us there. Yeah, just to me, I feel like if they don't capitalize on the momentum that the second one builds, I think they're really setting themselves up for fucking doom and gloom. But I don't think they'll waste what beautiful creation they've made. I just really would like to see the momentum continue.
Like you don't want the next one to start with like a slow reintroduction.
Yes, because the first one, like by all means, even as a standalone, is fucking chaos.
Yeah.
The multiverse shit just adds such a level of intensity. And then like...
This one like doubles down on that.
And it goes...
considerably
10 times harder. And you said it earlier too, like you texted me and you said it like pulls everything everywhere all at once, where like you're gonna be mentally exhausted by the end. And I said that to Elizabeth on the way. She's like, I don't really think I was mentally exhausted by the end. I just think I was emotionally exhausted. I'm like, yeah, like it fucking tears a hole in you.
Yeah.
I thought this movie was going to make me cry, or, didn't happen. I mean, not even close. I felt like I was really on top of it emotionally. I just felt like it was really chaotic.
I don't think it quite hits like the tearjerker scene, but I think it does have like at least one great emotional scene. The stuff with Gwen Stacy and her dad.
Yeah,
like
that's really powerful.
The dripping watercolor scene, like, dude, that shit's amazing.
Just their ability to even say, this is what we're going to do. We're not even going to draw in the background. We're just going to create this world of paint. Dude, it is perfect. It is perfect in animation. Like it is perfect. The animation is just so... I can't even put words to it. Like that's how good it is. It defied my expectations that the first one set up.
It's so far ahead of everything else. Yeah. There's not even like a near contender.
I've never seen anything animated in a way that feels this revolutionary.
I agree. Yeah.
I got really excited for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle trailer that played beforehand, and I'd seen it rolling around. Like that they're really leaning heavy into this painterly animation that's really in right now, and I think that's something that Pixar needs to get fucking on top of, because they're losing the game right now.
Have you seen trailers for that new
Elemental
Pixar movie?
Don't give a fuck.
It looks so generic.
I know, like the story looks so generic, but like I know that like the 3D animation that they're doing now with that is really exciting. It's the, correct me if I'm wrong, like Isaiah, if he was here, because he's an animation major, would like rip my head off. But like their simulations are like simulating like water is getting like insane now. Because like when you animate water, a lot of the times it's like multiple polygons of like individual things, and like you simulate basically tiny balls that end up being animated into water. Now you're getting to the ability to animate geometry as a whole and manipulate them and treat them as certain substances, because the computer can recognize if you want to make something look like water, so therefore it acts like water. Like just like really crazy shit. Computer animation is getting nuts. But I think like Pixar,
they just don't take any risks.
They don't anymore.
It's always the same thing.
And that's what sucks. And I felt like that for a very long time with them. I think like Soul was really beautiful, like a story emotionally. It was animated in a way that like is so boring.
I agree. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine if that film was done with a painterly, like 2D, 3D hybrid, like kind of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Puss in Boots? You know how like when like they write words on the screen like a comic book, when like actions happen, and like they do a lot of action lines around objects and like to show movement, and I feel like Pixar never does that. In Soul, if it was 2D, 3D hybrid or whatever you want to do, they could like throw in bang, someone tapping the piano keys and stuff, but like it would just, the color palettes would change, like color theory would be so much more applicable to like modern understanding of color theory. I don't know, it just like it just seems like they're going for the hyperrealism all the time.
They are,
and
it's
it sucks.
the same art direction 100% of the time.
It's like their brand, and it blows.
I don't know, man. It's not just the fucking lack of reimagining things. I think their stories just aren't as good anymore either.
They don't. They're not strong. Is that, dude? Are we moving on? Are we moving on from Pixar? Like
that's weird.
As a society, it feels like for the last, I think for like I would say like the last at a minimum 6 years, it has kind of felt like we are slowly transitioning out of the Pixar era of like cultural appreciation.
Dude, fucking Puss in Boots 2 was better than any Pixar movie from the last decade.
And like I saw a trailer for another DreamWorks film. I cannot remember like the name of the character, but it's like name of the character in like the giant squid or something. It was like it was a DreamWorks film about a girl that is a giant squid.
I haven't heard about this one.
It was just a trailer, and I got excited for it, and it comes out like next month. There's like hardly any advertising for it. I mean, maybe I'm an adult now, and I don't see that because like probably because kids get to see it, but like it just looks so much more interesting because it wasn't hyper realism. Like yes, it is a 3D animation, but like there was a unique art style behind it.
There's different flavors,
and it wasn't a hyper realistic face either, or like trying to play on a human face. It was literally eyes and a mouth were the characters. You know what I mean? It's just like
we've moved on.
Yeah,
we've definitely moved on. And
sorry, that was a long tangent, by the way.
That's all right. The animation in this, I think, or I hope that it will influence a bunch of shit going forward. But that's exciting. Like a bunch of people, a new generation influenced by this style.
Well, and like we're the generation that I feel like when we were kids, we arrived with Pixar. You know what I mean? We're like springing into our consciousness, and our parents and the older generations had developed this like we're doing computers now. Yeah, we're gonna start doing art with our computers instead of by hand drawing our 2D animation, like what you would get with Pocahontas, Bambi, you know, all these 80s, 90s animated films, 70s that have like been left over, and then we progress past that into the early 2000s we get our 3D animation with our early Pixar shorts. And now that we have been so familiar with it and it feels so old, and as we're becoming adults, we are having our effect on our artistic direction is grasping a hold of these technological advancements that were set before us.
People our age are the ones making shit now.
Exactly. So. And it's really exciting to see us bend reality around our creativity. Like it's so strange. Like even when I've been listening to music lately, I have felt like so much more often the music I'm listening to feels like something I would be able to create, because we have the technology to like create that in our bedrooms. Like we don't need a full symphony orchestra to create symphony music now.
We don't need the backing of somebody with money.
Exactly. And it just seems like we're so quick with technology, and like the generations, like the kids that we're gonna have, like are gonna like destroy our understanding in a way that like we won't be able to get. We'll be like, that's fucking these kids, these goddamn transgendered mother, like the adults that do that now. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like having this effect on our society is showing so much more in our media. And I think this film was like the class act. We're so off topic.
We are. The movie.
Anyway.
I'm not bothered by the lack of third act in this movie, like at all.
Well, you know what? And I do think the third act, even though it feels like a setup, is extremely climactic. I love Oscar Isaac's Miguel. He plays 2099 Batman, which by the way is excuse me. He plays 2099 Batman. By the way, coolest Batman in the whole film. The
Miguel.
He's the coolest one.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You keep saying Batman.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing that on purpose now. Oh. Yeah, Miguel the Batman.
Okay.
Me and Blake used to play a video game, and you could play as him. Like there was a Spider-Man, probably 2009, 2010, I think, maybe, when they came out.
Was it like Spider-Man Shattered Dimension or something like that?
Yep.
Okay. Someone at work was talking about this just the other day.
There's another one that's like a sequel to it. They're both fucking fantastic. And you can play as the 2099 Spider-Man. And then that was the first time we ever got introduced to him, like me and Blake. Like I was like, oh, there's different Spider-Mans. Fuck, that's so cool. But I love the direction they took with him using that character. Like, because in 2099, it's not that intense of like him trying to like guard the multiverse. Yeah. But they like used the right Spider-Man to like use the story around.
Like thematically, yes. It makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I liked this character a lot. And I think what made it super interesting is like they took the semi-antagonist route with him like towards the end.
That's the best. I love the gray.
Because, like, you can kind of see, not kind of, like, you can totally get why he would go against Miles.
But yes.
I mean, like, Miles saving that person on the bridge and, like, Indian, like, that multiverse causes, like, a black hole to rip through the, like, that world.
It destroys the canon. I love it, dude. I love how high concept the film was as well.
It is so much more complex than the first one. And, like, this whole, like, spot thing is just kind of, like, hanging on the outside.
I know, even though,
story.
like, well, that's obviously going to be the most intense thing. And I love, like, the way, excuse me, I keep dragging my beer bottle across the table. But I love the way that they play up that character off to the side, but subtly it's revealed to you just kind of how important he is. Like, and it's a nice slow cascade. When he's introduced in the beginning, it feels like, oh, this is the first bad guy that he beats as Spider-Man. This is going to be our montage cut. I'm fucking Spider-Man. This is the guy that I beat up at the beginning of the film to show you that I've grown as a character.
The movie is literally being meta about everything you just said.
Exactly. And then
you're just the villain of the week, basically.
Correct. Yes. Oh my God, you're fucking right. It is meta for that reason. He literally comments that. God, this movie was perfect. You're right. I think even though structurally it was really jarring, like conceptually, I need to go see it again, by the way. I think me and Elizabeth might go see it again tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, because it's going to rain tomorrow.
I think it demands
a second viewing.
Yeah.
Maybe
even more.
It really sucked. I didn't get to see it in IMAX. I wanted to see it in IMAX or in the Dolby Cinema. But the fucking like Transformers film came out and they had like fucking shoveled that shit in, which I'm pretty sure it like was absolutely terrible, is what I heard.
The one about like caveman robots, isn't that what this new one is?
They're animals.
Oh.
They're primevals, or I think they call them.
Anyways,
yeah. You know what I mean, though? Like, when I'm like, very clearly this movie is going to have like some really nice staying power. Like, why take it out of IMAX for me? You know I would have died And like that was my biggest takeaway during, because my screen was plenty big in our theater, because sometimes they're not on a standard screen, but the screen was nice and big at AMC. I was like really aggravated with the sound. I wanted a little bit more atmosphere with my viewing, because it all came through it. The soundtrack, all the dialogue.
It was too quiet.
It was a little too muffled. Yeah.
That wasn't like just your theater experience. Like the movie is mixed weird. Like I've seen things about other people having a similar experience.
The movie's mixed weird. Okay.
Because
I guess like we're so early on in the conversation right now where the film is at culturally. So I don't have like I feel like every time we do a bonus episode, I kind of feel like we come to it the movie's been around for a minute, or like the album's been around. No, maybe not. I don't know.
I feel like we react pretty like according to what we feel in the moment.
It's weird not seeing like YouTube videos. I haven't watched any spoilers, any like follow-up videos yet. So like I haven't got that like those other opinions yet.
No one's made like a video essay.
Literally, I haven't watched a video essay yet, which like sucks, because I love watching video essays. But I don't have like these circulating opinions in my peripheral yet. So it's just like hearing you say the movie is mixed weird. I'm like, okay, maybe it wasn't just me. Even if we were in a big theater, it would still feel a little weird.
You're also like not on social media or anything, and like that's where I saw those reports.
Well, I get on YouTube and I like subscribe to a lot of like video essay, like movie, like obviously like Stuckman, and so like that's how I get a lot of my media is through YouTube. Like YouTube is my social media. I think honest to God, I think YouTube is the best social media platform. I think it's better than TikTok. I think it's better than Twitter. Like you don't really view it like a social media platform, but because it's like video content, but like the communities and all the conversation that can happen under one video around a lot of topics, like it's just really, it's smart. I feel like when people have the ability to comment on films like this, like getting all these different opinions like helps develop an opinion even more, which is strange, but
just like the cultural conversation, like the general accepted view of whatever the thing is.
Yeah, we're a little off topic, but it's just, I think maybe what it is with our young generation is that our media has been so hyper developed. There is so much intensity involved in the way our daily lives have changed in the last 20 years. And media is becoming increasingly more reflective of that society. When you get a film like this that is absolute fucking chaos of an art choice.
We've seen a few of these recently.
Yeah, it's been very reflective, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, like a lot of like multiverse talk, like just so many differentiating opinions has like really played an effect on like our media consumption, which I think that's probably part of like the generational thing that I'm bringing into earlier. Like we have like grown up around a lot of chaos, our generation, like the previous adults have like set in front of us.
I feel like movies and TV shows are also reflected by culture, like in the way that you're talking about, and like the meta thing as well. Like I feel like we're always talking about how a movie or TV show is meta.
Yeah, self-aware and commentates on itself self-awarely. And like that is reflective of like our just like social media and like how perspectives are so nuanced now that it starts to reflect itself in our media so regularly. But something being meta is just us exercising our nuance.
One of the major meta things in this movie is the movie commentating on itself about canon stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and of course, like
it kind of feels like a joke a little bit. You know what I mean?
A bit, yeah.
Because like people always talk about Star Wars canon. Oh, well, this was in the comics, but this was in the books, but that book's not canon. It doesn't play, an actual role into like the way Darth Vader spent his time in between movies. Like,
I think this movie is like poking fun at its own universe's refusal to like change things up.
Yeah, or like have a clear path. Our IPs are so overly developed that things become overly complicated because such little now is tied to creating something new, because corporate media that creates these things tie themselves to the status quo, and like the only way to break out of the status quo is to overdevelop the status quo because it sells.
I mean, look at most of the Spider-Man related things.
Yeah.
Like, in the movie itself says it about its own franchise. Every Spider-Man has to go through these specific events to be Spider-Man.
Well, and that's because it's the without the powers, that generic Uncle Ben has to die after you get your powers. That is the persona of Spider-Man. That is the whole shebang. And that's what makes him Spider-Man. And they're commenting on the fact that they're all Spider-Men, but they all have to play this one storyline.
But it's like questioning, like, why do we have to do the same thing over and over again?
And that's what I'm excited for the third one, because like he's breaking it. And so, dude, it's so fucking self-aware.
We already see the fact that it can happen with like Gwen Stacy, because she doesn't. Her dad quits the Force, therefore he won't be killed.
And he accepts her as a Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that's never happened before.
It's crazy. Like, the meta commentary is like very clever,
dude.
You look like mind blown.
I am Well, I haven't had the full amount of time to process it quite like you have.
True, very true.
And you're like spitting, I'm sure, like other opinions that you've heard, and
a bit,
like you've had, because you had time to like digest other opinions and like learn about it, and I haven't had that yet. So it's like, you're right. Like it's really special. It's unlike anything I've ever seen.
It's so fun. Like, we get to see Peter B. Parker in this movie.
He comes back, yeah.
He comes back. He's married. He has a child. Spider-Man never has a kid. Like,
I know.
Anywhere else.
And like the fact that Miles is the whole reason, and he tells him that. He's like, I thought if she was like you, I would be a good dad and I would accept it. But Miles is the anomaly. The spider comes from another universe. It was the first anomaly. He wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man. That's why his Spider-Man died. And like, but he's the one that is changing the status quo, which ties so much into the social commentary of him being, Latin, like Latinx. Is he Puerto Rican or Dominican?
Dominican.
Yeah. That ties so much more into like the social race commentary on him breaking the status quo of like a canon storyline.
He's also the anomaly, like, in popular culture in terms of what we view Spider-Man as. He's Peter Parker.
He's clean cut. He like is a little bit more standard karate action. It kind of feels like his like, I don't know. It's like his Spider-Man doesn't have like the same charisma quite like our Dominican Miles Morales. Like it's cooler. It's flashier. It's like,
I like it better.
Yeah, I do too.
I love Miles as a character.
I do too.
And I connect to him in a way better than any other like interpretation of this character.
And I love it because it feels like he's such an expression on how I feel like our generation, our parents don't quite understand us the way we wish they did. Society doesn't understand us quite the way we wish they do. That kind of shows through that, like we grasp onto him that way. Our emotions and personalities and our creativity were like definitely stomped on by our parents, because I mean, that's what their parents did though. But like, even to
they're trying to set you up for like a harsh world.
I feel like our generation is like, the world doesn't have to be so harsh.
Like, we don't have to be like so fucking like on edge.
I know.
About everything.
Like, I'm not. It's not constant war all the time, man. Like, I don't know. I'm not either. Like, I'm on edge, but it's because I want to like do good for the people around me. I'm not on edge because I think my fucking neighbor is going to shoot me in the forehead for a loaf of bread. Like, like our generation is so much more loving and understanding. And I think like that's why, even though like, again, I don't completely agree with everything that's happening socially, I just think that the fact that we are so much more accepting of each other's emotions, that like these ideas allow themselves to arise.
Those parental like themes are explored beautifully in this movie.
I do too.
And
Excuse me, I agree.
The first movie was so much more focused on like the dad. This one was like super heavy on like
the mom.
The mom as being a character. Like,
I really love that.
She was great.
You're right. Like, the first one definitely had the masculine father, and I think it was like masculinity really well balanced and done beautifully in the first one. The second one with the mother, I feel like it was the same level and love, like that attention to detail, where it was like really healthy mother nurturing. Like the mother allowed her son to chase after the woman, but before she let him go, she wanted him to know how much he is loved back home by his own mother. Like it was just really powerful. I think that like really helps tie into the fact that like Miles is breaking the status quo, is because he's so supported by the people he loves, and like that allows him to break through into like loving. Like now he's going to love everyone else. Like this is a really high concept as well, but like
we're getting hippie.
But like his love and his passion to do better, supported by his parents, is going to allow him to free everyone else from their limiting beliefs. And like that's really powerful. Sorry, I had to get there.
It's so fucking good.
I had to get there. Like I don't know how I didn't know how to set it up, but yes, like it's really masterful storytelling.
It's balancing so many things and like not stumbling with any of them.
No,
like I didn't feel like
even like the cheap funny gags were still really intelligent. I thought
the comedy was tight.
Did you catch that, where like at the beginning where the Leonardo da Vinci parchment paper looking vulture was in, where at the end where they catch the helicopter at the bottom of the stadium or whatever it was, the arena or whatever they're in.
I think they were at a museum.
Sorry. The Gutenberg, I can't remember how you pronounce it, but Elizabeth knows it's a Frank Lloyd Wright designed museum. But one of the characters says, I think it's a Banksy. Like tying, like quick, and everybody laughed.
I laughed so fucking hard in our showing at that joke.
That was, and like it's so tight, and like even though that it
is literally like background dialogue.
Yeah, and it's like, but that's good comedic commentary. Even though like the film sets itself up to be fun, like when I think about like a huge film franchise such as like Star Wars, in the years that we're in now, with like the last 3 that I just like, the Rey trilogy, the Disney trilogy, it's like the comedy was like really forced still, even though they have like modern comedy writing that they could do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just felt like really boring and unnecessary, where like you can make Star Wars really serious and cool, not wooden dialogue like the prequels, but like, you know what I mean? And it just felt like structurally it was just not that interesting. Like for the comedic relief, if you're going to do comedy, do it, or like get the fuck out. It's not here.
I think this movie is like hilarious.
It is.
At multiple times. Also, the Banksy thing is also a callback to the first movie, because that line.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah. And it's like that first callback. That's what makes that shit so funny. It's like, okay, it works because it's so absurd that like you could get away with it. I don't know. It's just like, I've never seen anything quite like that, man. I mean, like I think like Birdman being like a dramatic entry to like meta commentary comedy that I've ever experienced. This film, it's commenting culturally in a way that I don't think I've ever seen done so masterfully.
I agree.
You know, like I don't want to rate it. I'm pretty sure like it's a masterpiece, probably 10 out of 10, even though like the story structure is not like perfect.
We just have to see how it connects to the next one.
Yeah. I think it easily could go down as the best trilogy of all time, though, when the next one ends.
If it delivers, then there's no doubt about that.
Like, I think it's better than like Lord of the Rings. I'm not even kidding you.
Oh, one last question before we go.
Yeah.
The weird send-off we get with like Miles when he wakes up in like the wrong universe. How did you feel like when that scene started? Like, were you put?
I knew immediately he was in the wrong universe because his mom's eyes were green. The room was weirdly colored.
Yeah,
it felt off from like what we've seen at night, because I think the color palette in Miles' room at night in his universe is blue. Like it's a blue hue to it, and this one had like a greenish brown, real dull hue to it. And his mom came in with green eyes. I'm pretty sure his mom's eyes are hazel in his universe. I caught on to it, and I'm like, how the fuck is he gonna get out? And like he's Prowler, like it's a much darker universe. Like there's crime. It looked like Gotham.
I think that cliffhanger is so good.
Yeah, man.
That's a really unexpected turn to take.
Yeah, like Uncle Aaron's back. Like,
yeah,
like it could be really crazy for Miles's character to get that closure with his Uncle Aaron too. Like they could set that up, or like he could beat him in the next one, and like he could be like, there could be like some really impactful dialogue. Like he could fight him in the next one or something. You know what I mean? It's just like, and like he could fight the same Miles. Like he's got to fight himself to beat everybody else. Like I don't know. I'm just hyped.
Dude, this sets up the next one so perfectly to like deliver on everything. Like, there's no way it's not amazing.
Dude, I think we just like kind of broke it up pretty quick, like how they're gonna do the next one. But like, I'm excited to see where it goes. I feel like they've set up the characters. They all have like really rich. All the side characters have like really rich, impactful. Their characters are just as important as Miles, and I feel like we're gonna get even more closure with all these characters. Like, they're gonna write this thing so tight, and it's gonna be like a cascade of just fucking perfect writing.
I can't wait.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Even fucking Gwen Stacy. This is almost her movie as much as it is like Miles.
They're hanging upside down on
Amazing.
That was the most beautiful shot in the film. Anyway, we're gonna gush if we go too long. It was fucking perfect. I'm super excited. It might be the best thing we see all year, and we're gonna see a lot of good movies, I'm pretty sure.
If this isn't the best movie of the year, then I'm excited for movies of 2023.
Yeah, you're right, man. Anyway, that was so fun. Getter, if you could do me the honors and just get us out of here.
Adios.